Hello everyone, welcome back to All Financial Discussion channel. This will be my second series of discussion. On my previous video discussion, I have discussed why we need to diversify our risk when we actually invest into dividend stock for our retirement planning. Over that particular video, I have also discussed the type of dividend. For example, whether would it be cash dividends, stock dividends, etc., and also the important milestone, the date of the dividend. So basically, that was my previous video discussion. This video discussion, I will focus on which category should we invest for the dividend stock in Singapore in 2025 so as to achieve the high yield. So this video will be this objective. Before I continue, guys, I urge you to help me by like this video. So this is very important for me. Just give me a few seconds. Help me press the like button now. Please also encourage me by subscribing to this channel and turn on your notification bell. Once again, thank you so much for strong support. Let's take a quick look on these 6 categories of dividend stock to invest in Singapore. There are 6 categories. Of course, I'm not urging you to invest into these 6 categories. Probably, at the start, probably try to invest into at least 2 categories so as to diversify your risk. So over here later on, out of Singapore Bank, for example, I will indicate how can we actually invest into our so-called dividend stock for our retirement planning. So let's start the discussion. When we actually look for the best dividend stocks in Singapore, it is very important to consider factor like dividend yield. So this dividend yield will allow us to anticipate how much the company will pay us every quarterly, for example, or every year. So this is very important if we are planning for our retirement plan. We need to know exactly how much we will be paid. Next, this payout consistent is very important. Like I mentioned earlier on, this is for retirement plan. So therefore, we need to ensure, for example, every quarterly, we should be able to receive a dividend from a particular company. So therefore, in order to ensure this, we need to check up the payout consistency. So definitely, this is also very important. Let's say we are planning to do this for retirement purpose. Next, for financial stability, so this is also a key milestone. So what happens if the company don't exist after 10 or 20 years? So therefore, in order to have so-called sound financial stability, then we will consider to invest for a dividend stock. So this is also another consideration factor. Last but not least, in terms of the growth potential, basically this will be a win-win situation. So besides paying us dividend, let's say the company shares actually appreciate, then we are also able to have some form of profit. So therefore, this is also another consideration factor when we actually invest into dividend stock in Singapore. Let's kickstart the discussion on Singapore banks. When we actually invest into Singapore banks, for dividend, so basically they will ensure us to have the high yield and they are actually quite stable. So basically this is the attractiveness. In fact, for majority of us, we will consider to invest quite heavily into Singapore bank for dividend stock. So for Singapore bank, there are actually 3 main banks: DBS, OCBC, and UOB. This is how I plan to invest, for dividend stock in Singapore for my retirement purpose. So firstly, I will put 30% into DBS. Because DBS is probably one of the oldest and the very strong banks in Singapore. So therefore, I would like to put a little bit more into DBS. As for OCBC and UOB, I'll put 10%. So basically from here, you can see that I invest almost 50%, onto Singapore banks for my dividend stock. Again, the key purpose is to diversify my risk. So therefore, you can see how I allocate in terms of percentage, which bank should I invest, in order to receive dividends. Next, for real estate investment trust, so out of these 4, I think I would prefer to choose the Mapletree Logistics Trust. And again, I'll put 10% into Mapletree Logistics Trust. Okay, I'm not ruling out this Capital Integrated Commercial Trust. Okay, this is also a good share to invest for dividend stock, but this is basically my personal preference. So therefore, I have decided to invest, okay, for 10% into Mapletree's Logistic Trust. Next will be on a telecom stock. In Singapore, there are actually three big so-called telecom: Singtel, StarHub, and M1. Okay, M1 become privatized. So basically, out of these two, okay, I guess that you know what will be my choice. It will be Singtel. Okay, because Singtel is probably the biggest telecom in Singapore, and again with decent dividend yield, I think this is also a good way to invest your stock for dividends. But for me, I will not put any into telecom stock for my retirement planning. Next will be in terms of the utilities and infrastructure. Out of these two, okay, I will definitely choose Keppel Infrastructure Trust. And again, okay, I will put 10% okay, into my plan for retirement, okay, because Keppel actually ensure us to have a high dividend yield, 6 to 7%. So therefore, I will put another 10% into Keppel Infrastructure and Trust. Next will be on the blue chip dividend stock. Okay, again, out of these two, okay, I actually prefer Singapore Exchange. And again, I'll put 10% into Singapore Exchange. Okay, so basically why I put into Singapore Exchange is also to diversify my risk. So basically, I have done 10 here, 10 here, 20. Okay, so another 10, which is 30. And the banks is actually 50. So I have done 80% of my investment. What will be my leftover will be 20%. Where should I invest under the other categories? So under the other categories, I will put another 10 into Sheng Siong and another 10 into ST Engineering. So basically, this is how I invest my dividend stock in Singapore for my retirement plan. Okay, so next, okay, I'd like to share this so-called this link here, okay, to see all the dividend stock in Singapore. Okay, let's switch over to take a closer look. Okay, so this website actually shows majority of dividend stock in Singapore. So from here, you can see that majority of the dividend stock in Singapore is actually listed in this website. Okay, so let's come to the more popular one. Let's say I want to take a look on DBS. So I just need to click into DBS. And over here, okay, I will be able to see certain parameters from DBS. Okay, so over here you can see that we are going to see the yield. Okay, so this is only just the second quarter. So from here you can see that potentially this year we will have a better yield. Okay, so but we will not know how well DBS will do on the second part of this year. But over here, okay, let's say we do a very simple compute. Okay, I guess that we are going to anticipate a better yield this year as compared to the last year. Another important thing that we can actually obtain is basically how consistent, okay, the dividend actually pay out. So from here, you will be able to check whether the company consistent pay out the dividend or not. So basically, this is for the DBS. Okay, so these are all the important parameters that I can extract from DBS. As you can see, the track record is quite so-called until 2010. Okay, so basically you can from here have some idea how consistent the yield is and also how the payout consistent also. So you will have a better means to determine whether this share can invest for dividends for your retirement plan. Okay, so this is for DBS. Okay, let's say we are going to take a close look. Okay, let's say we take a look on Keppel. Okay, so basically again for Keppel over here, okay, you can see how does the payout look like. Okay, so for Keppel, they actually pay out 2 times per year. Okay, will be in the so-called in the May and also in the August. You can see from here, they pay out here. So again, we are going to anticipate a better year this year. Okay, so basically, we are just on one of the payout. Okay, basically from the track record, let's say from two payout you're going to have 0.34, and the one that we have for this year is already 0.19. So typically, we are going to anticipate we're going to have 0.38, which is better than last year. So basically, with this, I like to end my discussion. But over this website, you can see that different stock that actually offer dividends. You can do some checking over here in order to decide whether this share is for you to invest for dividend payout for your retirement plan. With this, I like to end my discussion. Please help to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Once again, thank you so much for strong support. I hope to see you guys soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much.